Okay, hello. In this video, I'm going to do a short tutorial on knitting backwards. And there's different reasons you would want to knit backwards. The first would be that knitting backwards seems to get rid of unevenness caused by purl row. Some people have a tighter knit row than a purl row and it doesn't look so even. So that'll make the stitches look even. Another reason is to make doing entrelac easy. This is entrelac where it's worked in bands, and my demonstration will be on this piece. So it makes it a lot easier. So I will be knitting backwards. I won't be turning the piece. If I had to turn the piece every time I got to the end of the row, I would be crazy because this is the end of the row. These rows are very short and there's a gazillion number of rows, so I'm just keeping the piece forward. Also, if you're a left-hander, the knitting backwards might be helpful to you when you're working on your projects. Okay, so this is an entrelac piece, and in this entrelac, the body of it's made of rectangles. My rectangles, the length of these rows are 10 stitches, and I maintain that 10 stitch row on all of these interior bands. This blanket is edged with triangles, and so you do a different sequence to achieve a triangle. We're going to just focus on the 10 stitch bands, and on the edge there's also a triangle. So along each one of these edges are triangles, and the body, it has all these rectangles that are 10 stitches wide. Okay, and the yarn I'm using is Cascades Yarns Cherub Aran print. So it changes colors. I didn't change the colors. This is all from the yarn changing colors. And it's a little bit easy care. It says machine wash warm, tumble dry. So I guess you wouldn't have to do all the instructions, the care instructions you would have to do if you were giving a piece made out of wool. Okay, so I'm in the middle of this piece here. Let me make sure it's sharp. Okay, on the sides of each of these bands, I picked up 10 stitches, and usually I pick it up in a place where it's thicker to hold the stitch, but you can do what you like, just be consistent with how you pick up the stitches. So I picked up 10 stitches, and to bring my piece down. So I am a continental knitter, so I will be digging the stitches out, and so I'm a digger. That's what digging looks like. If I was doing the English method, I would have the yarn in my right hand and I would be throwing it. So then the stitch goes from the bottom, I wrap it and pull it out. So that's the English method. You will just have to practice an eyeball to achieve your results because all knitters are not the same. I will be digging or continental working the front rows, and then when I work backwards I'll be throwing because that's what's easiest for me. So for working the front row, knit, 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 knit. I'm digging the yarn out, dig, knit, knit. Okay, and then I'm ready. Instead of turning the work, I'm going to knit backwards, and you just have to practice with this. Just be, struggle with it for 5 minutes. To knit backwards, instead of turning and doing a purl row, I'm going to knit backwards. I'm going to throw the yarn. So for me, this is what it looks like. Put it in, throw. So now I'm throwing the yarn, moving it backwards instead of digging. And then when I get to the last stitch, I want to bind this square to the next segment. I'm going to knit backwards those two together. If I was really doing it, it's called purl the two together. Okay, so knitting forward. I'm not throwing it. That's the reason I like to do continental, is I don't have to, it saves me some finger movements. And then now to work backwards, I'm going to be throwing. Put the needle in, throw it. And whatever's comfortable for you when you're working. And so this would be the equivalent of a purl two together. I put the 2 stitches, stick it in 2, and then pull that off. Okay, so that will make doing your entrelac pieces much easier. I like to do entrelac a lot. And I'll do one more row just so you can see it. Maintaining 10 stitches. Each band is 10 stitches. I throw the yarn and I'm pulling it through. Okay. And you can just practice. If you're work your stitches English way and you want to start doing it continental, you can. That's what I did. I learned as a thrower, and then later on I changed to continental where I was digging the yarn. So you could just practice, just change it up. Okay, I hope that's helpful. Okay, thank you for listening.